Hello, everybody! Anime Reflux. This is the first thing we're recording in 2018. Yay!
Woo.
It's gonna sound really weird because it comes out after the podcast that we're gonna record next week, but yay! So, we're missing a lot of people. Zero's at a wedding. Kenchi, I assume, doesn't actually know we're supposed to be recording today because I forgot to email him about that. But Patient's here because Patient's cool like that. And Slicen is
Thank
back.
you.
Yay!
Hey, what's up? Back for
So,
good.
right. Anime Reflux. So, we review anime on this show. This is the other thing. I'm trying to get back in the swing of things because, we haven't done anything for like 2 weeks. So, this week the show we had picked out was Princess Tutu. Did it have any like subtitles or alternate titles or anything?
I think
I
that
don't
was
believe
it.
so.
Was it where?
No.
No? None? Okay. Alright, so yeah, the show is weird.
Agreed.
But I'm not sure it's weird in a bad way. Like, it was strangely engrossing and oddly humorous in how weird it was and just completely off the wall. Like, I've seen bits and pieces of, I think it's Revolutionary Girl Utena or something. And that got really weird in places and didn't make much sense and was a lot of visual metaphors and stuff. But I didn't actually watch the show, but looking at it, it looked weird.
I mean, I wouldn't go quite that far with the one that we watched this week. It was definitely bizarre, but I wouldn't call it that bizarre. I mean, it's an anime, after all.
It was surreal without dipping into abstract.
Yeah, I guess that's true. It seemed more like kind of fairy tale logic thing going on than anything else, I guess.
That's fair, I suppose. I mean, we literally start out with a fairy tale, don't we?
Well, kind of. That's like it's a framing device that they don't really bring up again, but yeah. So it starts with the storyteller saying that there is an author that just writes stories, and he's in the middle of writing one where I think it was like a crow is battling against a heroic prince or something, but then the writer died in the middle of writing it, so the battle would never end. And so the characters were like, "This sucks." So the prince cuts out his own heart and ends the story, and curses
Not
something.
quite.
Oh, go ahead.
Something like the raven escapes into another world, presumably the real world, and the prince follows after him. Then he uses, quote, forbidden magic, unquote, to sacrifice his own heart to seal the raven away. And then, somewhere beyond time and space, perhaps, the writer who had died smiled about it.
Yeah, the writer who died apparently didn't die and thought, "Oh, that's a way better plot turn for my story. Okay, let's work with that."
And then we have the opening, which is a nice little ballad. Is that the right term here?
Ballet. French. Because it's fancy and shit. Yeah, so yeah, a lot of focus on ballet in this anime to the point where they basically just use the sound, the sod musical terms. I don't care. The soundtrack to the Nutcracker and Swan Lake and all this sort of stuff is just the background music for most of it.
Orchestra?
Sure. Yeah. The accompaniment for the show, I guess, is the proper term. So yeah, it starts with the actual show, which is there is a dancer dancing on the water somehow, and then there's a duck. And the duck has... Okay, full disclosure, I watched the dub, everyone else watched the sub, so I'm going to be using a lot of things from the dub that the other two are probably not going to get. So we're probably going to do a lot of comparisons in this one. But the Duck's voice, or Duck the character's voice, is actually surprisingly endearing. Like, they did a good job picking out the voice actress for this one.
That carries over.
Does
do
it?
you mean her English Japanese speaking character or the duck that says quack?
It's both in the dub. I don't know whether it's different.
I actually can't tell.
It's just the voice actress saying quack. It's adorable. So, yeah. The duck is lamenting that she can't dance with the prince because she's a duck.
Not even like an ugly duckling. She's just a duck.
No, it's just a duck. Yeah, it's very on the nose. I can't dance because I'm a duck. So, yeah. And she says, I would give anything to be able to dance with him or help him or something. Dance with him, I think it is, in the actual duck scene. And she says, even her life.
There's also a bit about her saying that his eyes look so lonely.
Yeah. And then she gets visited by something. And it's like, kind of like eyes, but there are new pupils, and then it turns into a kind of face. And then the character Duck wakes up in boarding school. And she's apparently living in the attic for some reason, which is a little strange for a boarding school. Weird. So she wakes up and she's like, terrible nightmare, and opens the window as her morning routine and gets swarmed by an entire flock of birds of multiple different species. Like, it's like the Hitchcock film, kind of. It's just bird attack. And she's apparently friends with all of the birds and has names for them. And there is one in particular that is a mama bird, and the little baby birds are about to fly for the first time. Which comes up later.
To explain why the birds are friends with her, she feeds them. Big old bowl full of bird seed in front of the window.
Also, she's a duck, so she's a kindred spirit.
So, she goes on talking about them, and thinking about her dream, she compares it to the attractive boy who's living in the male dormitory, which is across from the girls' dormitory. And just, she's upset that she was a duck again, so she couldn't do anything about it, but she was glad that she got to see him. And then the school bell goes off.
Yeah, I assume it's Muto Senpai or something that she calls him in the sub.
It wasn't Ruto, no. It started with an M.
Mytho?
That's it, Mytho.
Yeah, it was Senor Muto in the dub. Like, when I say Senor, I mean it sounded like she was speaking Spanish. Somehow. I don't quite know why that was, but yeah.
That's basically how they pronounce it in the sub. Mytho.
Okay.
Or Muto, rather.
Yeah. So, bell went off, so she's like, I need to get to class. And then, why didn't my dorm mates wake me up? And it turns out they didn't wake her up because it was 6 a.m. So apparently the school bell rings at 6 a.m., which seems like a kind of a dick move, to be honest.
I think that maybe it was just more clock tower than a school bell.
So it could also be like an initial alarm. Like that's wakes them up so they can start getting ready. But school actually doesn't start until like 8 or something.
Yeah, like a wake up call kind of thing. Yeah. So her friends are like, yeah, that's it's actually 6 o'clock. She's so adorable for being so scatterbrained, is one of them, and the other one's like, ugh. So Duck runs into school, into class, where her class is supposed to be, and apologizes for being late. And it turns out Muto's there, and he's dancing, and as like this being a ballet themed anime, I had concerns that it was not going to be great at the ballet bit because frame rate, if nothing else. Like, ballet has to be very smooth, graceful movements, and low frame rate can kind of be a problem in that, and you don't want to use too many frames in animation because that costs a lot of money. But they did a decent job. It's not amazing, but it's not terrible. So they did a decent job of that. So she watches him for a bit because he's Senior Muto and he's a cool guy and such, and a good dancer, presumably. I don't know anything about ballet.
Yeah, I don't know. He could be terrible for all I know.
Yeah, Philistines in this circumstance. So he stops and notices her, and she's like, I'm so sorry, I'm such a klutz and scatterbrain, da 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 da. It's actually a really cute scene, again. Like, the character is really endearing and adorable, and it actually works, even in the dub, which is impressive.
I'm not sure how the dub handled her voice, but credit to the Japanese voice actor. She was just lightning voice. That was incredible. I've never heard somebody talk that fast.
I would need to compare, but the dub does it pretty quickly as well. Yeah, so she goes to leave and trips over her own feet or something. No one's correcting me, so I'm assuming that's right.
Yeah, basically, she makes a klutz out of herself, pretty much.
Yeah, and
complete with cartoony animation, very cartoony.
Yeah, and she trips over, and he runs forward and catches her. And she's like, wow, he saved me. And then other dude comes in, whose name I've forgotten. It was Senior something. Something, maybe?
By the way, when she trips, he's like 30 feet away. How did he manage to catch her?
Anime logic.
I guess.
Ballet.
Sure, let's go with that.
I mean, that is a thing that happens later, at the end of the episodes.
So, yeah.
Yeah, so other dark-haired dude shows up, and he's kind of an ass. And
kind of.
Yeah. Okay. He's absolutely an ass and domineering and controlling and kind of creepy. And Muto admits that he hurt his foot catching Duck, and dark-haired guy is like, that was really pointless saving someone so pointlessly, essentially. So everyone leaves. Dark-haired guy scolds Duck for being such a pointless klutz and getting in the way. And Duck ends up going to class, which is a ballet class, because of course it is. And they're doing stretches and everything, and it's a nice slice of life moment kind of thing, with just the three girls chatting about the seniors that they're interested in, and one of them's really into the dark-haired dude, and the blonde one that thinks Duck is adorable finds the whole forbidden love thing between Duck and Muto even more adorable because it's never going to happen and it's pathetic. I think it's kind of like a moe thing is the going for with the blonde one. She really likes moe.
Yeah, pretty much.
The forbidden love part there is basically because Muto, or whatever it is, already has a girlfriend, very attractive, very smart, extremely good dancer, apparently better than him, named Rue.
Yeah, and we see
like that name.
in like a couple minutes in the episode.
But before that, we are introduced to the teacher of the class.
And he's a cat.
Like an actual cat.
Yeah, Duck seems to be the only one that has any particular problem with the teacher of the ballet class being a cat. Why is he a cat? Like, this is one of those things where it's weird. Like, aside from the fantasy stuff, this seems like a fairly normal, cultural high arts kind of academy thing. But then there's a cat teaching and threatening to marry them.
Yeah, that's his go-to threat is, I will make you marry me.
It's a valid threat. Like,
And the thing,
Go ahead.
It's an interesting way that he reacts whenever he says that. He gets a cold sweat all over his head whenever he's threatening someone else with that.
I was really confused by that, yeah.
Maybe he's a tomcat. Just doesn't want to be tied down. I get it.
Sure.
It's so weird. Okay. So, yeah. They're, they get a demonstration from, no, sorry. I think first happens is they do the class and doing the steps and everything, and Duck sort of mentally drifts off in the middle of doing that, thinking about Signor Muto. And the cat calls her on it. I'm not going to call him a teacher. He's a fucking cat. He calls her on it and is like, hey, I'll marry you and such.
Cat sensei.
Hey, cats are very graceful, okay? I'm sure he's a great dancer.
I mean, he would have
That's
2
a fair
left feet
point.
because he's a cat and they have, like, 4 feet. I guess 2 left feet isn't really a problem if you have 2 right feet as well. That's a shitty joke.
That was so stupid, it actually took me a second to understand what you meant.
Yeah.
Jesus.
So, yeah, they get a demonstration from the special class where I presume the best dancers go for advanced training. And this is where we meet what's her name. Well, not meet, but are shown what's her name.
Rue is her name.
Thank
I've
you.
always liked it.
It's a good name. Yeah. So, yeah, another dancing scene, and again, pretty solid, I guess. I don't know much. I only know enough to know that it's probably not hampering it too much. It's the animation. It's pretty good. So that happens, and I forget what happens next. Is this where we cut to the scene with Dark Hair and Muto?
Possibly.
I think so.
Yeah, maybe. And it was just him, dark-haired guy, telling Muto, basically...
Sorry, we did skip a bit. You're up? Yeah, we did skip a bit. It was Duck deciding to go to the boys' dormitory so that she can apologize to Muto.
Oh yeah, that did happen first.
Yeah. So
Not
she
that
does,
it did
and
much
she
good.
argues with herself about it. Should I go? And yeah, talking as she does in rapid fire while she's trying to psych herself up. And dark-haired dude shows up, and he's like, "Go away." And she's like, "I just wanted to apologize to Muto," and he's like, "No, go away." Basically. Like, it's completely pointless, just leave. No one cares. And then we get the scene with Muto and Dark Air. I really should find his name or something.
He basically tells Muto, he basically belittles him and says that he's slow and useless and he shouldn't do anything like trying to help someone, and all he needs to do is what dark-haired guy tells him to do.
I don't know about in the sub, but in the dub, it's weirdly voiced. Like, it kind of gives the impression that, yeah, controlling, domineering, but also kind of soft spoken, almost like he cares. Like, the way he says it says he cares, but what he's saying says he cares because he wants to own Muto, kind of thing.
That might come across for a Japanese speaker, but it didn't seem that way to me.
Likewise.
Okay. That
But I was
might be a
focusing
dub
more.
thing. I don't know.
Maybe. I mean, I'd be glad to see that he wasn't completely a jerk. But the scene that we see in a little bit of him saying that he's going out to fetch some books for him to read while he's
Only
recovering
read the
from
books that I bring you. Yeah, that was...
Yes, that.
Yeah, that was something. Was there anything between that and this? I don't remember.
Well, I'm sure there was, but
Not important.
detail. Oh, wait. Did we have... At Nightfall, we had the... At Nightfall, Duck was musing on how she could help him, and what did she say? She said, I'd give my life for it. And creepy silhouette comes back and is talking, appears in the courtyard, and she goes down, and he is appearing everywhere that she can't see and speaking things that she can't hear. And it's pretty clear that this guy is the writer.
Yeah.
And he's trapped in some sort of clockwork limbo. Also, he resembles some cross between Dr. Vile from Mega Man Zero and a Harlequin.
Yeah. Like, I can... Actually, the whole clockwork thing really makes sense. Like, if he's the writer, then he is the god in the machine.
Ah.
Yeah. So, that actually makes a lot of sense. So I guess we move to the next day, and we get the scene with the don't read books I don't bring you and such.
And then
Muto decides to open the window and sees birds get, like the canaries that Duck was talking to previously, like the little baby birds. Sees one of them get attacked by a raven. Also, it does tie back into the beginning thing. Okay, yeah. So, it gets attacked by a raven and knocked out of the air. So, he decides to jump out after it.
It wasn't quite like that. It was... Duck was watching in the courtyard below as the baby canaries were going to take flight. And then comes the part where he opens the window to also watch the canaries. And as he's doing that, one of them takes flight successfully. One of them is about to, then in comes the raven. And it attacks the one that's still on the gutter, knocking it off. And he, basically high compassionate, not thinking things through, grabs the bird and holds it close to himself as he begins plummeting to death. And if I can say something, I feel as though, well, it's pretty obvious as he was looking out at the birds on the gutter that he was thinking about being like them, just being able to up and fly away, something like being a bird in a cage.
He wasn't just... No, he was standing on the windowsill. Like,
yeah. Anyway, from there we have... yes.
She sees him falling and is like, no, I need to help him. I would do anything to help him, even give up my life.
And
Go ahead.
And the writer is watching nearby, or not nearby, but he's watching. And in response to that, he basically gives her a charmed ruby necklace or something like that.
I think she was wearing that the whole time, to be honest.
She was.
Well, I thought that might have just been a brooch that was standard for schoolgirls. I don't know.
Yeah, but she's wearing it, and he asks, does she remember who she is? And she's like, yes, I am Princess Tutu. And I am like, what the hell is that?
And commence magical girl transformation
Yeah.
with duck feathers.
Yeah.
Canary feathers, actually, it looked like.
Well, to be thematically consistent, it's probably duck feathers, let's be honest.
Probably, I don't know.
And so she begins lunging to catch him, and flower waltz, she says, and a field of flowers spirals out from where she is, providing a soft landing for Muto. And a little dance between them. She says that she was glad she was able to save him. He says that she knows his name, but asks who she is. And then it gets really weird.
Yeah, then she turns into a duck and goes somewhere else or something.
Basically, a quack escapes from her mouth. She covers her mouth and runs away.
Oh, yeah, she runs away and then she turns into a duck.
Yeah, somehow.
Mm. Yeah, that's basically a good way of summing it up, actually.
Yeah, basically, duck with transformation amulet, and the writer basically muses, like, leaning on. No, he's basically talking from the other side of the fourth wall, saying that now Princess Tutu is turned into a duck. What's going to happen next?
This is another one of those shows that doesn't feel like it has to bother with things like explanations. But again, this is pretty much fairy tale logic. They're like, the witch is living in a gingerbread house. That didn't make sense either, but you don't question it because it's a fairy tale. Yeah. So she's a duck, and she's the character duck, and she's also Princess Tutu. I don't know what that last one is. I'm not going to watch anymore, but if you want a sort of romance story with a lot of fairy tale logic, this is probably a really good show for you, because this is surprisingly good.
It's not.
Did you guys watch the preview of the next episode?
No, I did not.
Oh. It seems like it turns into Monster of the Week, Sailor Moon, ballet battle anime, honestly.
No surprises there. Honestly, no surprises there.
But a little disappointing, frankly.
Well, I mean, concept may be overdone, but you don't know about the execution.
True.
Based on like the 20-second snippet I saw, I mean, it seems like it kept the tone, but I mean, it did seem more battle heavy. I mean, they were still fighting with ballet, which is kind of cool.
Yeah, like if this was a little more in my wheelhouse, I'd probably definitely watch more of this. Yeah, not probably. I would definitely watch more of this, but it's not really my thing. But for what I watched of it, it was really entertaining.
It wasn't nearly as bad as I was expecting.
Yeah, the characters were fun.
Yeah, it was pretty entertaining. Not sure I'll watch more, but, well, the story is intriguing at least. I love the thought of a writer on the other side of the fourth wall, just trapped in a clockwork limbo until his work is complete.
Yeah, not even necessarily on the other side of it, but maybe trapped inside the fourth wall.
That alone is enough to intrigue me enough that I might continue watching it, but we'll see what happens. Slicer?
It didn't really... I mean, the first episode is very appealing. It's very attention-grabbing. It's certainly good for a first episode. It's it's bordering on boring and interesting in a really weird way. It kept my attention, but like nothing really happened. But yeah, I don't think I'll be watching it.
Was it a matter of suspense, just knowing something is going to happen, but not knowing when?
Basically, yeah. I mean, that's certainly part of it.
Well,
Okay.
all right. That's that done. So who's rolling?
Slicer, is there any chance you could roll up a random number generator?
I will try.
Okay.
Kind of depends on if I can. Okay. What are the parameters? Min max numbers I can do.
1 to 27.
Maybe try not to get
Let's
what
see.
was it, 17, 19, something like that.
Well, no danger of that. It's 7.
7. That's G.
G. Sorry.
Okay. Let me see. 89.
Alrighty. 89. Number is 71.
Ooh.
71.
Way at the bottom.
And the winner is, oh dear, Granblue Fantasy, the animation.
What?
Oh. The fighting series?
I don't know.
Huh.
Granblue Fantasy animation. Okay. Okay. All right. So this is spring 2017. So this was last year.
Recent.
This is a world of the skies where many islands drift in the sky. It's redundant, but a boy named Gran and a talking winged lizard named something I'm not going to pronounce lived in some other place I'm not going to pronounce. An island which yields mysteries. One day they come across a girl named Lyria. Lyria had escaped from the Ersti Empire, or Erst, a military government that is trying to rule over this world using powerful military prowess. Again, redundant. In order to escape from the Empire, Gran and Lyria head out into the vast skies, holding the letter Gran's father left behind, which said, "I will be waiting at Estalucia, Island of Stars."
The talking winged lizard is Vern, as in wyvern.
Yeah. That's also the Y is in the Y bit, not the Vern bit, yes.
Zenkin still. I don't know about that one.
Yeah.
As for, well, I mean, I've never heard of Granblue Fantasy. Have either of you? Well, clearly
Nope.
you have.
All that it's making me think of is BlazBlue, so probably not.
I looked up. I Google image searched it, and it looks very Japanese RPG.
Granblue Fantasy is a Japanese role-playing game developed by Cygames for Android, iOS, and web. Really? They made an anime for a mobile game? Okay.
Are you surprised, really?
Yeah, kind of, actually. But usually it's the other way around. First released in Japan in March 2014. Notable for reuniting music composer Nobuo Uematsu, which was Final Fantasy, by the way, the good ones, and art director Hideo Minaba, who, Final Fantasy art director and music director. That's actually... Alright, fair enough.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Cool.
For the record, vetoes are back, but I see absolutely no reason to veto this one.
Nope.
Yeah, no, this actually looks interesting.
Yeah. Right, so I have to actually link that. So, whoops. There we go. Cool beans. So we'll give this a look. Just for the talent based on, rather than actually the summary, because the summary was kind of bland, but yeah. Alright. Cool beans. I'm not a fan of Final Fantasy myself, but, you know, Legends in the industry probably for a good reason, so...
I've never given...
Which Final Fantasy?
I've never given it a try myself. Closest I've done is Kingdom Hearts.
What did you say, Slicer?
It depends on which Final Fantasy you're playing. They're all quite different in tone and appeal.
If memory serves, Uematsu did the music for 6, at the very least. Or 3, if you like.
7 is the one that most people know, and
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure.
I don't know whether he did 7. I know he did 6. Watch me turn out to be wrong about that, and he absolutely didn't do 6, but did absolutely do 7. I don't know. I don't play the games. Whatever. So
Okay, so apparently he's known as the Beethoven of video games.
yeah, I guess that would make what the hell was his name? Persona guy who did the music. I was gonna make a Salieri comparison, but whatever. All right, so
Okay, so apparently, no. Where is it? Video games, and it was the 1st, the 2nd, the 3rd, the 4th, the 5th, the 6th, the 7th, the 8th, the 9th, the 10th, the 11th, Origins, 12, 4 again, remake of 4, I guess. 14, 15. Yeah, he's been in all of them.
All of them. Okay. Fair play. Beethoven of video games. That's a really odd comparison to make, considering Beethoven was deaf. But whatever. Like that's the thing he was famous for, rather than being a composer, really. But okay. So yeah, Granblue Fantasy, the animation, is what we're going to be watching next week. I hope they have it for new people to get into it, because we're gonna have no idea.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Yep,
We'll
Japanese phone game, we're gonna be lost. Yeah. Oh well. So, bye everybody. Thanks for listening. Back next week with that. Bye.
Take care, everyone.
See you guys.